As we are back, episode 8. It's been another week since we last chatted, and we do have a guest coming on soon. We'll talk about that in a minute. But first of all, hello. How are you? How is everything? And how's your week been?
Yeah, episode 8, mate. So week 8 since we've been doing this. So we may have missed a week or two, hey, in between somewhere. But yeah, it's exciting. We're going to have Paul Hopper join us at some point during this conversation, which will be fantastic. So it'd be great to hear from him and see how he's tracking along during these, well, we've spoken about 1,000 times, these really tough times right now. So it'd be good to hear from him. What's been happening? Not a lot. As you can see, mate, this is the best part of my week right now, is coming in and talking to you and talk a bit of BS and see what else is happening, across our lives, and maybe make some observations around probably what's to come, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, interesting times ahead, mate.
It is.
Community is divided. People have opinions, and I don't know. Let's just see what happens and see. Yep. We'll see who's right or wrong, the experts or the aren't experts or the non-experts or the
that's right.
Whatever other category there might be. I think there's other categories I'm just not aware of them just yet. But
yeah.
We'll see what happens, mate. But like you said, Paul Hopper's jumping on. He's the Hopper Mo Group. He'll explain who he is and what they do. They're a community. They support the community. They support us. I'm very grateful for what they've done for us. Again, we'll speak that in more detail. But I suppose the idea of having someone like this on is to show how the business sector works as a team, your leaders, the environment, the culture.
Yeah.
Again, we'll touch on that when he jumps on. And as we have agreed that I'm not to be an interview hog tonight, I'm going to share but we'll just see how we go. When he jumps on, we'll welcome him, and then we'll start that process. But in the meantime, mate, so what's going on, mate? You've been watching the NBA in your spare time. I know you've been working, but you've been watching the clips in between your working hours,
mate.
I presume?
Oh, mate, absolutely. You know, I'm a Celtics man, so another tough loss today. Game 6, so now we're going to Game 7 against the Raptors, who are the defending champs, and I think they've proven over the last week or so exactly why they are the defending champs, really. Absolute grit. They went down 2-0, 3-0. 2-0? Nah, 2-0, and they've clawed their way back. No, it was 2-0. Yeah, and then they've clawed their way back, even the series, and then it's been an absolute slogfest from there on in, and today was no different, that's for sure. It was just an absolute, double overtime, all on the line, and just a bunch of really, competitive beasts stepping up and getting it done in the end. The Celtics had their chances through the game and just weren't able to capitalise at the right time. It just goes to show, though, I mean, it just comes down to a couple of possessions, doesn't it, sometimes in the game of basketball? Just a couple of mistakes here or there at crucial times, and unfortunately could be the difference between winning or losing at the business end.
So we haven't discussed this. Which game do you think I'd like to chat about? 0.5 seconds of a game. What game do you think I'd like to talk about?
I hope you don't want to talk about that point. No, we're not talking about that 0.5 second game. That was unbelievable.
2 poor executions of defense.
Yeah.
0.5 seconds of both teams, and how it was done. So the first one, that pass and just leave the biggest man open on a back cut, and then that pass to the opposite corner. The time that got across, he caught it. He still gets a shot off.
Yeah.
Break it down to me. Explain that to me, please.
Well, look,
I'm both teams. That is just I can't believe I saw that in 0.5 of a second of a game.
Yeah. Well, look, put it this way. This is how it went down from my point of view. We saw Kemba Walker come off a pick and roll, find the big man down low and stuff it in the hole with 0.5 seconds left. It was a beautiful bit of play. I was jumping around the lounge room. I was all excited about it, thinking basically the game was over. Yeah. How is anyone going to get a shot off with 0.5 of a second left, or a clear shot off in the playoffs? Fast forward 2 minutes later after a timeout, an unbelievable pinpoint pass across the floor to the opposite corner. Unfortunately, the Celtics defenders were way too deep and left a shooter wide open. Catch and shoot 0.5. I think he got it off in 0.2 of a 2.5 of a second or something like that. It was unbelievable.
The thing is, it was like I saw 0.3 to a 0.2. I don't know. It was just amazing. I'm just saying like it.
Yeah, it was a great bit of play for the standard basketball fans. I was shattered. Because that could have been the series right there, really. You talk about moments sometimes, and those sorts of moments can be just, that can just propel you, and it clearly has for the Raptors, that's for sure.
And to be fair, the defense that Celtics exposed when the pass was made, they could have gone to the corner, and I suppose it's a do I, don't I, but at the end of the day, you always give up the 3 ball and not the inside entry, but I get how that happened because of the way it was done, and there was a bit of time. But how would you be being a coach for the second one? I'm not saying it's the Celtics, I'm just saying the scenario. How do you feel being the coach knowing that you got the timeout, 0.5 seconds, and virtually the game's done? We just deny, hands up, denial plays. How would you feel knowing that just happened?
So you're talking about it from the Celtics point of view, hey?
Yeah, the coach point of view.
Mate, you just have to take your hat off to the opposition, really, because that is just too good. It's too good. There's nothing you can do about it. Look, the way they sort of structured up for that inbounds play, you probably wouldn't have done it any different, really, if you had your chance. If you had your chance again, because they were protecting the space at the rim, really, so they wouldn't be able to go to another OT, really. So I mean, it was just a great shot. What can you do? You just walk off and you deal with the disappointment, I'd reckon, probably for the first hour or something like that after the game. But you have to, with these 7-game series, you just have to move on to the next. That's for sure. And I think that's probably, we talk about it at our level, Daz. It's a bit the same. You're going to win games. You're going to lose games. You're going to lose games where you just go, how the hell did that happen? Would you do much different? Would you really reflect and do much different? Probably not. So you just wear it. That's sport. You just got to go on to the next one.
Well said, Dazzo. I'm impressed.
Yeah. What do you think? What would you do, Dazzo? Would you'd probably throw the clipboard and kick something on the way out?
To be fair, I've just got to work out that the timing of the pass and the delay of reaction and all that stuff. I get that the pressure and the expectation. I suppose you would presume it's a done deal. All I do is just ensure that we defend the paint. Well, I've seen that coming, no, but I still think that the play could have been split, not necessarily all in the paint, because I think we all got coverage. But then again, if he goes too far out, someone slips in, another opportunity, another exposure. I don't know. But for the fans, to be fair, I think it's great how the game was fierce, where at one end that happened, at the other end that happened.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think we need something like that in today's society, what's going on. I'd like to say, but I'm not an armchair expert. I don't want to be the coach. I shouldn't even do that, but I am arguing with armchair coaches right now. But it was just more about the feeling and what could have been done. I don't know. What should have been done, I don't know.
Yeah.
But the feeling, I think it'd hard to deal with the feeling, not right from wrong, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I guess, look, they know they got the benefit of the next game, and it is a series after all. I mean, if you look at it in a broader sense, and we as coaches probably get caught up in this sometimes, you're not going to stop everything. Whatever you do, you're going to be giving up something, especially at the defensive end in those crunch situations. But generally with whatever you do system-wise and how you want to play things, you're always giving up something. So clearly that was something they thought they'd give up. Would they really think the ball got thrown there? No, I don't think anyone thought the ball was going to be thrown there. But hey, that's just a message for everyone. You're going to give up something. You won't be able to cover everything. It's a game of mistakes. And it was a small one with 0.5 seconds left.
And there
will be. Got to move to the next.
Well, offensively or defense, there's going to be a breakdown somewhere. It's just who breaks first. That's the idea of this game. That's probably why I love the game.
Yeah.
It's just the first breakdown is when you normally get the job done. So
yeah.
Well, I think for the crowd point of view.
Crowd.
Who's the favourite to win the whole thing? Take away your bias.
Oh, mate.
So the outright winner.
I'm looking at the East right now. We'll start with the East, so where the Celtics and Raptors are. I've got my Celtics cap on here, being a Celtics fan. I hope they win Game 7. And I dare say they're obviously going to meet the Heat in the East Conference Final there. If anyone's been watching the Miami Heat, I don't know if you've been watching them, Daz. They have an unbelievably well coached Eric Spoelstra there. He should be, in my opinion, probably coach of the year with how he's brought that group together. You look at that group and you go, who's this, and who's this compared to some of the other teams that have these mega stars. they've got one probably really recognisable all-star in Jimmy Butler, who, left from Philadelphia the season before in some consider acrimonious circumstances. Very, very strange, and it's strange to see what's happened to Philly over the last 12 months there. But he's built a team around that guy that are just all competitive. Offensively, they don't care who's shooting it. They have something that's just, I think, not many other teams are doing offensively. It's just so well drilled. It's a motion-based offense, and it's just all these sorts of different reads and reacts that they're all just so well drilled at. They're incredibly hard to stop and defend, and I think Milwaukee found that out. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Heat can actually progress and take the East, to be honest. Just the way they play, it's just incredible energy. I was saying this to another coach the other day, the energy they have from that bench, and you have to generate your own energy in this bubble anyway, but they're just from 1 down to 12 or 10, they're all engaged. They're absolutely engaged. The coaching group, the playing group, they're all on the same page right now, and they're great to watch, I would say.
I wonder, with the hub and no crowd and that normal environment you're in, and the razzmatazz and the noise and the bands playing it's all gone.
It's all gone.
But I wonder if they've actually gone back, and I don't want to hope this doesn't come out wrong. I know they love the game, but like the way you used to love the game, because now it's a job. They get paid the multi-million-dollar contracts. But I wonder now if they're actually enjoying it like they did when they were young. There's no crowd. You got to get the energy up. You got to embrace each other. You got to fight for each other. You got to you can't rely on the outside noise to keep you going and moving forward. And I just wonder if it's a different feeling. That would be a different feeling. But that real, when you're back in the streets and playing your game on the local stadium where there's no crowd and you are the atmosphere. I wonder if that's a great feeling to have, being an NBA player right now, with all things considered.
I think I had a guess from the outside looking in. It's in its purest form that you can get it right now as a professional athlete without the crowd there. And like you said, if you love the game, you're probably playing it with without the added pressure of fans being there and whatnot. It has taken away in these series. It's shown there's no such thing as home court advantage at all. Usually in a series, if you go 2-0 up and you get one away and you go back to home court, you're generally on your way. So it's taken that completely out of it. It's probably made it really pure, and that's probably why we've seen some results that we've seen. With the Bucks going out, they'll be very disappointed, and be interesting to see what they do there. But I absolutely agree. There's it's just absolute love of the game, and the team that generates their most hype and energy and can move on quickly from a defeat is going to be the best team to win it. That's for sure.
Well, with the NBA going on, have you ever been watching the Hard Knocks, the NFL stuff?
No, I haven't been watching the Hard Knocks stuff. No, but I've actually. Again, I'm a bit of a Boston fan with the Red Sox, the Celtics, the Bruins, and now the Patriots. I'm very interested to see what happens in the NFL this coming season, being a Patriots fan. People are going to hate me when I say that, because a lot of people don't like Patriots fans over the years. But that's where my heart lies. So I'm very interested to see what happens this NFL season. And again, they're not going to have crowds, which is, I've never been to an American, the NFL games. But I'm told, and from what you see on the TV, it's just absolutely unbelievable atmosphere. And usually teams are so hard to beat at home, especially those big teams that are usually really successful at home and really hard to beat. Is that going to be a factor anymore? That's going to be a big question.
I don't know. Hey, we've got an issue with Paul. I think we've got an issue with technology. Sorry, guys. Just technology. I think it's that Chrome thing.
No good.
Explorer. So it's going to be Chrome. The reason I raise NFL is, do I enjoy the NBA? Yeah, I'm interested, but I like to see something different and to learn something from a different perspective.
Yep.
The Hard Knocks, I've watched the last few seasons on the behind-the-scenes stuff. They do a pre-season. They pick a team.
Yeah.
This year, the 2 Los Angeles teams. And with the COVID, the changing, adapting of, the change rooms, the training, when you can train, when you can't train. I'm amazed by that right now. Yeah, I know we're in NBA finals, but me being me, I'm more interested in the behind-the-scenes stuff. And the NFL is actually give me what I need, because I love what happens behind the scenes. I love how they get to where they were from the start, day one to the end, and so forth. So, hey, guys, we're going to actually get Paul Hopper on. So here he is. We found him.
Paul's on.
Did you jump on Chrome, Paul, or was it internet? Was it the Explorer? What was the issue?
No, I just used my phone. Couldn't get it to work on the laptop. And
wow.
just didn't want to be bothered with downloading Chrome and all that. So yeah, just jumped on the.
So we adapt. So we adapt to technology and what it can and can't do for us. And nine times out of 10 we need it, it fails us, but that's okay.
It does.
so Hop. Oh, sorry, Paul. But to me, it's Hop. We've been just discussing a bit of fun about NBA and NFL and what we love about the sports and what we see. But our main focus is having you on. We welcome you to start with. And the reason why we'd like to have you on is because we are all about culture, teamwork, and how the kids in sport have to understand that the importance of being part of a team is going to impact how they are in real life when they work within an organization that requires teamwork. So for you, you run a pretty big business with Hopper Motor Group. You can explain a bit about what you do, Paul. We talk about leadership, teamwork, engagement, the culture. And one thing I'll be thankful for before we go any further is you see your viewers know me and Paul have been chatting for a while now. We know each other from the past, from our junior days at Werribee, but really got to have some deep conversations over the last probably 12 to 18 months. And then Paul found a way to support an issue from us. And then he also, in the hard times and tough times, they also support us once again, which was massive for the brand of Change in Sports to stay alive when it was all questionable and unknown where we're heading, what we're doing. And we've also got a lot of things we're discussing that we hope will bring to fruition when we come out of COVID-19 to help give back and work together within the community. So, Paul, I love his stands, I love his values. I'm driving the cars under their brand. I highly recommend you go, but we'll do that later. So first of all, this is Paul. Viewers, this is Paul. I tend to hold the spotlight when I know someone. So Az is going to probably start this, Paul, but I'll give him a start and then maybe introduce Paul, what you do, what you stand for, and what you're all about. And then we'll just let the conversation do what it does and take us in whatever direction. What do you think?
All good.
All right, Az, I'm going to hand it to you, because I was a hog last week and I was just greedy and didn't share money with you. So
No, it's all right. So, thanks for joining us, Paul. Look, I thought I'd probably just kick off, give the viewers a bit of background about what you're about and I suppose where you've sort of been and how you get to know this knucklehead, Darren Hindle.
Yeah, no worries. Firstly, we played against each other in our junior days, basketball.
Yeah.
Bit different these days. I see the front of his head. Back in those days, I saw most of the back of his head as he mostly blew past me pretty quickly.
Brilliant.
Yeah, wasn't too short on talent, Darren.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate the love, mate. Yeah. I'll give you some for that. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Are you going to slip him a 50 after that, Dazza? Come on. Surely you told him to say that.
Oh, mate. It sounds good. I love it. I'll jump on that. Sorry, Paul. Keep going. Sorry, mate.
Yes. No, all good. Yeah, so just quick bit about my background, 27 years in the automotive industry. Pretty much straight out of school, did a little bit of uni, but not much, and then into the car industry, family business, so third generation, and didn't really intend to hang around in the car industry, just was filling in time in between uni courses, and kind of got going and started enjoying it and got stuck in it, and then got thrown in the deep end really young to have a crack at running our group in 1997, which at that point probably had about 35 staff, something like that. So I think the instructions that or sort of like the brief I was given, if you like, from my father was, well, you're my son, you're going to make a heap of mistakes, but at least I know you'll learn from them. And number two, you're not going to steal from me. That was pretty much that was the job description kind of thing. And then, my dad's been great. He's given me a lot of, freedom to have a go and try some things and, bring a group of people on the journey with us. So, so these days, our groups, fair bit bigger. We grew a lot 10, 15 years ago. That came with an enormous amount of challenges, growing pains, just in the whole range of ways. Financially, we've had our ups and downs, and we've had plenty of challenges external that we haven't caused, and no shortage of ones that we've brought on ourselves as well. Through that, we've got a great team of people, a great group of people, And that's, if I reflect on the tough times, it's every single time it's what gets you through. It's your teammates, the people you work with, how well they dig deep, and no more time more important than right at the moment, is there? Gee, this coronavirus situation we all find ourselves in certainly didn't come into 2020 thinking, it's got a plug charger in.
Oh. Yeah, no, definitely 2020's had its challenges, especially for you, Daz, as well, and through the times with TS here. We'll just wait for Paul to get himself all charged up.
Yeah, just getting it. Yeah.
That's why I love it. We just
raw real.
She ran off and left me on my own. It was great.
There you go.
He's back. He's fired up.
Back.
But you're right, Paul. We talk about your environment culture, it's the leadership. You've created that, haven't you?
Oh, I think I'm a part of the culture, no doubt about it, and the values which are important to me, people first and foremost. So, what gets me out of bed, what gets us going as a business, as a group, always centers around people. Be that our customers, be that our staff, be that our partners, our manufacturer partners, our finance partners, our suppliers. It really is what motivates me. Anyone who knows me, and even you, Daz, it's not about toys. It's not about big boats or any of that sort of stuff. Probably don't mind a decent glass of red every now and then, but other than that, it's I don't have expensive tastes. Good holidays up camping, that kind of thing. So, yeah, for me, why take the risks? Why take enormous financial risks? It's about people. We've got at the moment about 260 staff. Some of them have been with us a short period of time, and we've got a whole range of people with us, a long time, 5-10 years and more. Our longest standing employee started before me 28 years ago, and we celebrate those people. And probably for me, what I celebrate more than anything in our group are the rough diamonds, I like to call them, people who are in key positions, running dealerships for us, not educated apart from the school of hard knocks. And they've been with us for 10, 15 years, and they're a bit like a rough diamond, and they play really key roles for us. Most of our people share a bit in common. I describe our group and our people often as functional, not fancy. There's not a lot of fancy sort of people, or not a lot of egos in our crew. So I think those things are conducive to a good culture, because we don't have a group of people who are a bit like how I said with my own motivations. We don't have a whole lot of people that are, chasing down toys. So it's not hard for them to align to, a cause that's around people, again, be that our customers or our teammates. So at the moment, what are we, 5 months into this coronavirus situation? It's been on again, off again, open, closed. And right now in Melbourne, we're in, deep into, 6 weeks now, roughly, into, a pretty heavy lockdown. And it's the crew that you rely on to get you through. And in our case, they're standing tall. In Melbourne at the moment, probably a third to a half of automotive dealerships just closed. As soon as the lockdown was announced, it was just decided that they'd close, which I understand, because it's difficult. We've had to shut it, like by law, we have to shut the showrooms and the yards. They're not open. Service departments are only allowed to open for emergency repairs, maintenance, just to keep vehicles sort of roadworthy and on the road safely, those sorts of things. But it's on the sales side, I think our team, they've sort of risen to the challenge a little bit on the digital front. They've found ways to connect with people on Facebook and through other digital channels, generating conversations and inquiries. And we've got vehicles, people need them, be that in Melbourne, be that in provincial Victoria, and we're selling a lot of cars interstate at the moment. Those conversations are happening, and then lots of video, lots of FaceTime connections, a few Zooms with customers, and we've been around. Our group's got a good enough reputation. I think people, there's a bit of trust there. They're happy to transact. Sort of organise a vehicle, we put on trucks in it, so they don't even really get to see it until it arrives at their doorstep. So we're still doing a bit at the moment, like to put a number on it. we'd be operating less than 40% of what we normally would, which isn't a pretty number. That's, if it wasn't for some of the government support measures like JobKeeper and so on, that'd be a financial train smash that we wouldn't last long whatsoever. But the point, what I'm saying about being 40% down is, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that because our team could have said, "Nah, I'd rather just sit on JobKeeper, stay at home, and do nothing." But they're not. They're working their butts off for their customers, for their teammates. Keep the cash flow heading a little bit in the right direction. It's predominantly going in the wrong direction, but they're fighting deep, and that culture has been forged over years. We've had our fair share of challenges on and off over the years, and when I reflect back now, it's those challenges that we've had before, and how the team responded is in part what's prepared us for this particular challenge. Not that we'd ever thought, this sort of once in 100-year virus would come along, but it's just another challenge. So we're standing tall. We're trying to, remain really positive, remain positive, like you guys are, for our connections, our customers, our suppliers. Checking in on people, helping people out. If we can make sure we pay our bills on time, that helps other suppliers who there's a bit of credit stalling going on out there. I think we're sort of trying to make sure we're not going to sort of those sort of tactics. And anyway, I feel like I'm waffling a bit now.
No, you're right, Paul. No, you're right. Paul, I was going to ask a question. It's great that you explained the culture and what the Hopper Motor Group's all about, and clearly they're under great leadership by the sounds of it. So it's a credit to yourself. I was just going to ask, more or less, what was the sort of reason for aligning with Transition Sports?
Well, obviously, Darren and I have known each other a long time, but it's the culture, the Transition Sports culture, that resonated a lot with me, and the way Darren goes about it and his team. Darren hasn't got a big team, as you know, but it's the way they go about their connections with their people. And there's very few people like that I've met that genuinely care deeply and pretty much solely for the people that are in the sphere that Darren comes across, be that a sports person, be that someone from another walk of life. He cares equally about everyone, and he rolls the sleeves up. And anyone who knows Darren a little bit would know, again, it's not about the money. It's about, changing lives one at a time. Obviously, the common part of the platform for Daz is sport, and that makes sense. But his skills they're evolving and they're developing way, past sport. So I think it's a really, there's not many people like that. So I just, again, if our purpose, what I said before, is about people, then why wouldn't I want to get alongside and support and help where we can? I can't do what Darren does. I'm not made for that. But we can help a little bit around the edges and get in behind and help Darren with his momentum, pushing forward and see where it can go. There's just not many people on the planet like Darren.
Yeah. Oh, it's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not sure. But
that sounds beautiful.
That's good. Sorry, I appreciate you asking that to Paul, because it's not about us, and it's about the reason why we're doing this conversation is so people get an understanding of struggles in sport, struggles in work. It's the same. It's the same relationship. It's a working environment. But Paul, I appreciate why you support us. I'm very grateful and indebted. And I mean that. I just mean that in a real heartfelt way. And I'm looking forward to what me and Paul can potentially do when we come out of this. There's some exciting ideas. Our minds are thinking and going crazy. And I'll sit in his office and I'll have a 5-minute chat. I'll leave his office an hour and a half later. And we just have these ideas, but then we're just going to have to start to capture them, and then we're going to start to direct them. And I can't wait till this happens, but COVID-19 put a bit of a pause. Hey, Paul, for me personally, regarding COVID and how we deal with it and how we cope, I mean, it's not easy. I don't think people realize the impact of, or maybe I'll start this question again. Social media, you want to try and keep your team upbeat, confident, inspired to keep chipping away, keep moving forward. But I'm starting to find a massive divide in the community. I'm not judging people. Their view, but I'm talking about the armchair experts compared to the experts. The people that think they know compared to the ones who probably, I think, would know. Decisions are being made that whether they're right or wrong. Paul, I'm sure you've made mistakes. I've made mistakes. How do you feel? I'm not saying about the government, and just how do you feel with how everything's going on, the atmosphere, the environment, the what's going on? How do you find it? Does it impact you? Do you ignore that outside noise, or do you feel that sometimes it's hard to not get consumed by it? Is probably what I'm getting at.
So for me personally, it doesn't really get to me too much. I think it's just part of my personality. A few things just about my personality in that respect. One, I'm an introvert, more of an introvert than extrovert. So if you're going to be stuck at home, probably suits people that are a bit more introverted than extroverted. I don't need a lot of people contact to sort of like, to fill me up where, I've got a wonderful sister. She's the opposite. Like if she goes an hour and hasn't spoken to someone, she sort of starts to get the twitches. So, just for me personally, but being from that personality type probably makes it a bit easier. And again, just through the challenges that we've had over the last sort of 5 to 10 years, I'm a little bit settled when confronting a challenge these days. I've been through a few world wars, it feels like, and I won't go into the detail of the history, but we've had some really big challenges as a business, and again, we've got through those, and you sort of get a bit more battle hardened. So part of me sees this as a battle, and it is a battle, and it's one that we have to conquer. And for us, conquering it is doing what we're told by the government and adhering to the guidelines and all that sort of stuff, and trying to again just look to other people. If I start to drift a fraction in my mind and start to get the negative sort of impulses coming in, which can happen, what I try and do, and this is a bit of a deliberate thing that I do, is just try and get on the phone and ring someone or do something for someone. And put a smile on their face or whatever, and that pretty quickly takes my mind off wherever my brain might have been going to go, and then resets it back to, hang on a minute, no, we're here for other people. We're here to help other people. Okay, it's a crap situation at the moment for everyone. Who is there that I can help? Pick their chin up a little bit. Might be, drop off a loaf of bread. My wife happens to be one of her ISO projects has been mastering sourdough cooking. And she's got yeah, I know. My waistline loves it too, by the way. So
it does kill me. Kills me.
But like at the moment with the restrictions, we can't get out and share that around so easily. But when we're in stage, whatever, the earlier stages when we had a bit more freedom, she was cooking 4 loaves a day, and it really put a smile on our faces to be able to share that around with people, put a big smile on their faces. And, something like a very small thing to do, but it's just an example of what we could do in our world to take our minds off all the things we couldn't do, and how much life had changed and the financial challenges and whatnot. So just little things like that.
Amazing. It's amazing. It's just amazing. And I think, Paul, you hit on the head through times like this, again, unprecedented and completely unfortunate. And so many people have different battles, and we're on the same storm, but different boats, like we've spoken about before, Daz, about just doing those little things to look after others. It just seems like if we could probably or a lot of us could probably take a leaf out of that book and do that, we'd probably be able to find we'd get through this a hell of a lot better than we have to date collectively as a community. And I think that's probably the one thing that I take away from what you just said, Paul and Daz. What we're all about at Transition Sports is helping others. It's not about the money or anything like that. It's just about developing and helping people become better. That's an absolute crucial thing that we need to, I think, stick to over this next little period to help us get through this really incredibly tough time.
Well, like Paul said, and Paul's done it for me, and I think as each other, and just good to know, like you see, you can pick someone up. So I remember Paul rang me. I remember I was out the backyard, and Paul rings me on a Sunday afternoon. He's on our online private post. We do it for our members. Yeah, I didn't realise that I was coming across. Maybe I was a bit down and out, and I probably didn't think too much about it. Maybe I was a bit flat, and he picked up on something in my post that I was doing to the members. I did a video. Sometimes I'll do a drive. I was doing a drive-by and video it and just talk to members openly and freely. but he picked up on something. But the small thing he picked up on had a massive impact for me. It was great. Azza, you one day picked me up. We went for a drive 2 hours away and had lunch in somewhere and picked me up. And we've done the same with you, Az, and Paul knows that if he ever has, I'll be there for him and just check in. I just think we get caught up, and I understand why we get caught up in the emotion and the disappointment and the negativity of decisions, and we can't control what we can't control. And I've had flip days. I'm not trying to be this hypocrite, but I do feel that I've seen and appreciate a lot more than I ever have before. That family time is crucial. Even though I'm a family person, I get time with them, but it's a high five in, high five out. I'm going here, they're going there. I'm doing this. I'm spending real long, quality, enjoyable time with them. It's not, I'm going to sleep, not thinking about, well, what should I be doing tomorrow? I'm thinking about, I'm with them again tomorrow. How good is this? Yeah. And when we come out of this, I'm hoping instead of us, we'll get out of it. I know we're hemorrhaging, and Paul will be hemorrhaging big time. He's a lot bigger than us, and I'm hemorrhaging. And Azzy, I know you're still working, but still not the same. But when we come out of this, I'm hoping the positive that we might see things differently, act a bit differently, and be a bit more there for each other, like Paul is, like I think I represent, like you do, Az. That's right. There is a lot of positive out of this, even though we're hurting a lot in other areas. Would that make sense, guys, or not really?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and moving forward is, you know, I want to make a difference. Paul wants to make a difference, and that's why we chat to the people that we know are going to genuinely want to make a difference for the right reasons. So, Paul, with your situation with, you're a pretty big company. What would you classify? What size in business would you, if someone says what size business would you be, what category would you come in, do you think?
Well, at times too big. At times, probably times not big enough. But it's just the type of industry. In our industry, you know, there's you know, we've got a lot of staff, and we turn over a high dollar volume at very, very low margin, because cars are obviously a high dollar item.
And you got to carry that weight too while you're holding it, yeah.
Pardon?
And you got to carry the weight of those cars that are sitting there, and you're getting low margins, but you're still pretty big in what you've got to turn around and turn over just to try and get the money in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. At the moment, we've got, I don't know, what have we got? Probably $35 million worth of cars sitting around on, you know, for the most part on grass. Well, when I say on grass, in compounds, not going anywhere, but we're still paying interest on them. They sit there. They're still, you know, substantial interest. You know, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. You could do the math.
Crazy.
So, you know, the fixed costs like that are the things that are hard for us in this sort of situation. You know, as I said before, the staff have been great. You know, the government stuff with JobKeeper, good. You know, landlords have been pretty good, pretty fair as well, which is you know, critical as well. But there's just enormous fixed costs, and that's where, as I said, with our team being prepared to, you know, find a way to just keep the pulse ticking over a little bit. You know, instead of being a full train smash, maybe it's only half a train smash or something, like, you know what I mean? So, and you know, the cash burn, instead of being horrific, it's you know, it's not so bad, and we can hang in there until, you know, things open up. And I think when they open up, you know, Melbournians, Victorians will, you know, we'll be looking for each other, and there'll be, you know, a lot of, you know, the restaurants, they've copped it, haven't they? You know, like,
and the tourism and hospitality, crazy.
Yeah. So I think Melbournians, you probably won't eat at home for a month. You know, just go out and eat at all the restaurants and support them, give them good tips if you can. And
I'm going on a 48-hour drinking fest, that's for sure. I'm going MIA. The wife has actually signed the agreement. I can go MIA for 48 hours. I'm excited like a little kid. It's great.
So Melbourne, I think Melbourne will bounce in that way. You know, we've got a very, very social culture in Melbourne. You know, we love our sport, our theatre, our art, and, you know, even our graffiti on the streets of Melbourne and things. It's a really rich city of culture. One which we're all pretty proud of. So I think at the moment, forget the politics of it. You know, like, there's plenty of people having pot shots at the leaders of our governments at the moment. But, you know, I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be them. And not saying they're doing everything right or wrong, and most of the time I wouldn't even know. But I just know that it's an immensely challenging for them, and it's been moving quickly. The science of it, the patterns of it. I just think very, very difficult. So I think the best things we can do is support each other, follow the rules best we can that the government lay out, and be a little bit patient. as we all sit here, today the number was 50 something, whatever. I mean, it's a whole lot better than it was 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. It's definitely heading in the right direction, and I do think we'll get on top of it as a city. Whether it's 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, that I don't know. That'll largely depend on how everyone toes the line and does the things. But as I said, I think on the other side, whether that's in 4, 6, 8 weeks, 3 months, Melbourne will bounce strongly. And for all of us, we can catch up some financial ground we've lost. And I think, for me, if you look at other people, then, it'll come back your way as well. So let's make sure that when we come out the other side, we're generous with other people, other businesses, and support them, especially those ones hit hardest. So let's all go out for plenty of dinners and pubs and and entertainment and that, because they're the ones at the moment that they're just miles behind.
With the business and you, and as this is just going to be, I think, where we're heading with the sport.
Yep.
Paul, how if you went to a school now and done a presentation, a sporting club, to be fair, and emphasize the importance of what you do now within this group you have through sport, the importance of that, how that will have in the future when you go into a working environment. How would you help tell these kids or up and coming generation the importance, let alone enjoy it first, embrace it, but get to really understand the meaning of it, because you're going to need this to understand this for when you face the real world in the work industry. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Well, in sporting, and particularly team sports, there's no good being a superstar individual in a team sport. You need the collective 1 + 1 = 3. Yeah, you need everyone being good at their own role, but you need it to click and to work together. And we see it in like AFL is a good example in Melbourne, pretty popular. A lot of people would watch that from time to time, and the best teams aren't always the ones with the most talent. But one thing's for sure, those premiership teams are the ones who work hard for each other. So I think the parallel with business and what kids, what younger people can, one of the things they could take from that is, like now we're in tough times. The best business teams out there will be the ones where the teammates, the people, the employees, which are like a team, are working for each other. They've got each other's back. They're less thinking of just themselves. They're thinking of the collective, and that little bit of effort I give, maybe that helps pay their wage as well. So I'm going to dig a bit deeper for that. We're seeing it in our group, and we sort of celebrate that and share those sort of sentiments, obviously, with our crew, to make sure they understand if they're having a bad day. Just look at some of our crew at the moment that aren't working much at all. We've got some that are working a bit more than others. We've got some that aren't working as much, so work a bit harder because they're not. And maybe we can look after them a bit more that way. We can pay them a bit extra or do something because they're doing it a bit tough. So I think in sport, that culture that you can develop, where you really truly understand the difference between a team, a team of there's truly a team knitted together as opposed to a bunch of just individual superstars, is the same in life. It's the same in business. I don't think, and that's what you can learn, and celebrate the culture and the reasons, and then you could go to all the little disciplines, because again, good teams will have some significant skill. So you do need that skill, that talent, and that takes hours for a sports person. Thousands of hours to become elite, and that happens in the tough times, the down times, and it's raining, and they're out there and doing that sort of stuff. And again, in life and business, a bit the same. Our best employees, often a common thread around them. They're not, for the most part. They don't need us to yell at them, motivate them, or anything else in between, provided. So they don't do this. It's the more that comes from their own innate desire to do well for them, for their family, and their teammates. And they keep striving, they keep learning. So some of our best employees, I just shake my head in awe, in gratitude, but in awe of, it's like, wow, I see how good you are at what you do in a really genuine way, and you're a freak. But I know how they didn't just roll out of bed and that's what they are. It's how they've stewarded their opportunity in life, by working and practicing, and in sport, training and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that sport's a great environment for that, because you do, like, if I've played my fair share of sport over the years, and you see the benefit. Basketball, I played against Daz a bit when we were young. For me, I never had the innate talents or anything like that. So for me to get better was hours and hours and hours of time at home, shooting hoops, practicing, dribbling and whatnot, and that helped. I never became anything close to an elite basketball. I never would have been, but I got better, and so I saw results. Yeah, same in life, same in business. If you're at school, same. If you're at university, same. Yeah.
Paul, would you say that, and again, we talk about as coaches, so myself and Daz, about our athletes and the choices they have to make, being young up and coming people, around how they time manage and manage their school workloads and their sport, and making the most of their time away from actually being in the gym, etc., with us to get better. I guess, do you feel as though choice and discipline, I think you said the word discipline before, plays such a critical role as people develop professionally? I mean, you're obviously the head honcho, the director of this massive or big enough business. Do you tend to draw parallels in that regard around the discipline and choices and the people that you sort of look to bring into your organisation? Do you pay that a lot of thought when you're looking at people?
Well, it becomes apparent more from the people you've got. It's very hard to in an interview situation, it's a little bit hard to assess, people's values and the likely disciplines that they'll bring in. It's difficult. Yeah. We bring in a lot of young, a lot of our key people, like I said, rough diamonds, they started as juniors.
Yeah.
And they weren't impressive to start with, and they didn't sound that good in a job interview. Some of them could hardly, string decent, paragraphs together.
Yeah.
But they didn't need to. They needed to want to learn, want to develop, and then it becomes apparent those that'll respond to a bit of direction, a bit of coaching, a bit of mentoring.
Yeah.
So you might have, just hypothetically, a 22-year-old crew member that are showing a little bit of initiative, showing that little bit of going the extra yard here and there, not because they've been asked to, but just because they want to. A manager, one of our leaders, managers, is going to see that. They will. The older brigade of our crew that might have been in the industry 20, 25 years, they're going to see that, and it's going to catch their attention.
Yeah.
And they're the types of individuals that might just get that little bit of extra mentoring and nurturing. And all right, we've got someone away. One of our managers away. Do you want to handle the shift for a week while they're away and have a look after the chair a bit, and they get developed that way. So, but it's the desire. I think the desire creates the discipline a bit. So and I've seen plenty of people in our crew and valuable team members that they're a little bit more diesel engine like, just chug away. And I think that's fine too. I think I'd say that there's just in life. There's a fair degree of people that need to be valued equally, that they just need to chug along and do their thing, and that's what they want to do. They don't want to be challenged. They don't want to conquer the world. They want to serve.
Yeah, they want
to. Yeah, and when the bullets are raining down, they want to keep serving, and they want to keep fighting for their teammates, and they're just absolute loyal to the core. Like diesel engine, good example of how I describe it, but if that makes sense. So, I don't know if I think I've probably shared this with Darren before, but it's probably like a 70-30 split. I think 70%, I'm just plucking numbers, but 70% of people are that way. They're at their best when they're serving and getting stuff done inside. They're proud of it, and they're good at it, and they want to be good at it, and they want to help someone else be better, and that's your foundation. And then I probably think, in my experience, then we might have 30% of people who do they want to stretch, and they don't mind falling over, and they don't mind making a mistake. We try and provide an environment where it's safe to make mistakes, almost expected that you make mistakes because it's an old adage. But if you're not making mistakes, you're sort of not going to move forward, are you? Because
yeah, that's right.
You're not going to do everything right. So we would say 6 or 7 out of 10. If you can get a 6 or 7 out of 10 win rate on things that you try that are new, you're going to net gain. You're going to be net gaining moving forward. So yeah, that 30% group, go have a crack, make some mistakes, do some things, and we try and provide an environment that's got that freedom for them to do that. And we also like to recognise the uniqueness. So we could have, say for example, a used car manager at one of our stores who goes about his craft with a certain personality and a certain flair for certain vehicles, and he likes to work with prestige vehicles or something. But then we might have another used car manager who's got a really different personality type, different whole passion set for vehicles, how he goes about it, and we celebrate both. We try not to provide a one size fits all. This is what these are the very tight parameters and walls you've got to stick within, and that's it. We try to provide some safe boundaries, but inside that, be creative, go nuts, make some mistakes, and create something and grow.
So you allow them to be unique in their own way while still maintaining your standards and values, and there are rules and regs you got to abide by, but you allow them to be them. You allow them to be strive to be the best version of them while representing your banner. Would that be true?
Yeah, exactly. Yep, yeah, spot on. Just don't breach our cultural values. That's the big one. Like if people do the wrong thing by our staff, that doesn't happen very often, but if it does, you won't last long.
Yeah.
We come down pretty hard if people, were to do something wrong with one of our staff, discrimination or abuse or anything like that. That we're just hard as on that stuff. No place for it. Obviously, if anyone was to, cheat or steal or anything like that, you don't last long with that either. Luckily, that doesn't happen too often. But and just caring. Another value you don't want to break in our group is it being about people. Like, again, if egos start to come into it with anyone in our group, it doesn't last long because they're the odd one out. If it really quickly becomes apparent that it's all about them, it's not that I come down on them or say that there's no place for them, but eventually there's a mismatch with the entire team, and they kind of just don't fit because they're needing a sort of an ego filled when no one else is even understanding what that almost is like or means. So it just doesn't happen. And again, it's a result of lots of people who started with us very young and come through worker bees, not complicated people, not fancy, just good, good quality people, and
good people, good values.
Yeah, and as you're I use the word family. I mean, I know people like to say family, blood. Family can be what you create of that. Blood or not blood doesn't matter.
Yeah,
if they want to be part of what you stand for, well, they're the ones who should just leave and not be a part of it. If they're going to be the thorn between the road, we just got to make it say, well, this is not who you are. This is not what you stand for. Just move on, because you want a group of people that want to have to go to work every day, be together every day, and actually appreciate each other every day. You'll have your highs and lows with, Paul, you've upset me today, but we'll be fine with that. And as we didn't, what happened the other day wasn't good, but yeah, we'll get over that.
Yeah.
I just feel that family feel, that where I want to come to work and work with that person. I'm going to be with them all day, but I want to work there. I want to be there. I want to look forward to getting up and going to work, because a lot of people don't want to get up, don't want to go to work because they don't enjoy what they do or who they work for or what they're part of. That blows me away. If I don't like something, I'm gone. I'm out of here. But easier said than done, because we have commitments and things that we've got to, make sure we can cover. We just can't leave jobs, but you've got to feel it. Is that right, guys? You got to want to be there and that vibe. And Paul, I've seen it. I think when I walk in, I can feel it. It's an atmosphere that's hard to explain unless you've experienced it yourself or you've been a part of it. Like my team, they're family, mate. Like the development coach, or the young ones are like my sons. Tim, my right-hand man, is like, he's just part of the furniture. Kaz works there. And if you're not going to be a part of it, don't be part of it. It's just, you've got to support who you're working for and what you stand for. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that comes with, your style of being inclusive Darren, for you, you'd be a pretty inclusive person about how you're thinking through things. If you've got issues or challenges or ideas, you're gonna get people around to workshop that, work with it, solve problems. It's not the Darren show. It gives people ownership. So I don't know your crew that well, but I'm pretty confident that transition sports, there's an understanding of where that's come from your visions and passions and whatnot. But there's going to be a shared ownership there. That's the same in our workplace, and it's probably the same on the sporting field for a really good, again, the AFL example, a really good AFL club. The team are probably not seeing that club and that team as, it's the head coach. No, it's the head coach has got a really important role, but so do I, and so do we. And if we do our stuff well, then guess what? 1 + 1 = 3. And if we do that across, 22 or so players that turn up to hit the pitch each game day, then they can start to climb mountains. So it's shared ownership and not seeing that it's not going, well, where's the magic move the coach is going to make? No, I reckon the best AFL teams, they make their own moves and they make the coach look good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And same in our environment. In our environment, the best moves aren't made by me. The best moves I'm in awe of, because I never would have thought of that solution or that idea, or all I've done is help be a part of creating an environment which allows that freedom and has that sense of ownership by the crew. So yeah, for just going back to where, for young people, be it starting out in sport or life or work or whatever, lock into that stuff, cherish that stuff. Don't look, I think as teenagers, I've got a couple of teenage kids, and they sort of live in a world about them. It's about them and their everything and whatnot. And I was a teenager once, and so as we get older, we sort of see more past ourselves and more towards others. And I think that the quicker you can lock onto that and see your purpose about others, guess what? You're going to be happier. Your life might just even bounce a bit more. The ball might bounce a little bit in the right direction for you as well. So yeah, I think taking your eyes off yourself a little bit and looking a bit out there further on the horizon at other people, and team sports, fantastic way to learn and develop that in preparation for life, family life, for the workplace.
I'm going to phrase that as, because me and Paul are the same age. Azza, you're still old, but you're young.
Thanks, Dazza.
We're a little bit like a bit more has happened to us, or we've been through it, and we've also been owning businesses, and we see it from all different eyes. I've worked for someone, I work for me, I've been in school and all that team sport. Do you wish as a youngster, remember the old, when your dad or mum said, in my day, you think, oh, whatever, and I didn't appreciate what they were saying, and I know, and now I know what they meant. Now I'm doing the same thing. If you knew what you knew now from hearing from Paul, how much importance team is to when you go into the workplace, and maybe when we've had our chats and just comparing it, whatever, and what you're seeing around you, how much beneficial if a youth of today bought into this, understood this, would they be better prepared when they leave school?
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. I think and Paul touched on this, it's more about the we rather than the me aspect. And I wish I knew that a little bit more as I sort of made the transition myself from from school and junior to senior sort of sport, then into the workforce. It took me a while and it's taken me quite a while, I will say, to embrace the we aspect, because the more you sort of look into yourself and worry about your own sort of self gain, you're not as happy. You're not going to be as happy anyway, because there's always, if you're more worried about the me, you're on to, okay, now I've ticked this off, now I'm on to the next thing. And then I tick that off, I'm on to the next thing. You find you're probably forever chasing a bit, and you're not going to be as fulfilled. But that's something that I've probably really realized over the last 10 years of my life in particular, is, if you become more outwardly focused and focus on what you can bring to the table for the greater good and your teammates or your colleagues and things like that, actually does make life a lot more smooth in a sense, and you feel like you're a bit more, you bring a bit more self-worth or worth to the table, if that makes sense.
It's like you can't do this alone. Like Paul, you've always got dad and mentors and friends and people to help you support to make decisions you make, and your family and all these key, the key platform of people that support us, and that's the base, the foundation. I just wish that we can actually somehow get this message across, because sometimes I'm both. I'm a team person, but sometimes I think, I've got to do it myself, and I take too much on, and I wonder why I carry the burden, the worries, and I don't sleep. And I remember when I went and spoke to Paul, I remember sitting in his office, and I've done this a few times with people, but I didn't know why I was sitting there with him. Not that I didn't want to see Paul, I just didn't know why I was there. I asked, let's catch up. Didn't know what the purpose was. I said, I don't know what the outcome is, mate, but I just want to chat with you. And we chatted, and I think the first conversation, Paul, wasn't really a direction. The second one, all of a sudden, we started to get a feel that, hey, we could actually help each other and support each other, because, again, working together made more sense. What I wanted to do was, I can't do alone. I don't mean financial. I mean, as a person, as a collaborative group, you need the team of people to try and get across. I just want to help people. I want to make an impact. I want to make sure I can inspire people to be better than what they were yesterday. But I can't do it by myself. The likes of Paul, what he stands for, Azza, we're doing this because of what I love with you and why we do it. We just want to get messages across.
Yeah.
You just can't do it alone, and you just got to be able to acknowledge that and realize that's why you got to find the right people, the right foundation, and actually listen to the message and the words or their wisdom, because there's some key things there that's going to help them move forward. Do we agree, guys, with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
So it's an hour already. I think we're supposed to do half hour, 40-minute chats, but we just break rules and just say there is no rules of us. But I wouldn't mind, Paul. I reckon we get you on again when we start getting closer to getting back to normality, and just see how you're feeling, how you're traveling, what you're doing, the ideas we're coming up with. We get you back in if he's okay with that.
Yeah, love to.
I reckon it'll be awesome. We'll just track, what we should do. Azza, what are your thoughts before we go? Have something to say? And Paul, what do you want to say to the viewers? Az, with you, what do you want to say to the viewers about what we're talking about, and what's the message today, do you think?
Oh, look, I think the message is, and it's been great to have Paul on to actually get it from a business perspective. He's a leader of people in the working world. There is, you're only as good as the team you have around you. I've heard that line before. I heard it through my probably earlier junior sport years, and I'll be honest, and this is where my ego came in. I looked around at the people I probably had around me at the time and thought, yeah, all right. But as you get older, and you leave that ego at the door, you're only going to ever be as good as the good people you have around you. So that's the huge message I think we should probably take out of today's chat with Paul.
Awesome. Paul, what are your thoughts, mate, on what you think the message is for the viewers, or anything else you might want to add?
Oh, for me, getting around people like yourself, Darren, with Transition Sports, again, that 1 + 1 = 3. I think with good people around, you can impact more lives. If I'm privileged enough to be one of those, I'm grateful for that, happy with that, and motivated by that, and really looking forward to on the other side. I think it's just, by the way, I think it's great what you're doing with these StreamYard, Zoom type, StreamYard type videos that you've been doing. I think it's a great way to keep the connection with your connection base of people. Plenty of gain, plenty of, like in our industry, plenty of shut. You're not. You're still giving of your time to keep the heartbeats going and keep the connection and reaching out to people all the time. It's just fantastic. So yeah, for me, pretty simple. Help someone else, pick up the phone, talk to someone. Today's Are You OK Day, by the way, isn't it? Yep.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
It is. So I think that, should also be, if we reflect on this little video recording, that's the day it is. We didn't script this, by the way. I didn't even know what we were going to be talking about.
You pulled that up at a really good time.
I didn't know what we're going to be talking about. Just happy to jump on. But I think that's a theme. It's what transition sports is good at. It's what it stands for, and it's what it's motivated by. So I think for me, pretty excited about how, what the future holds for what transition sports and how it can impact people especially once we get past these lockdowns and bits and pieces, and you can start to stretch your legs.
I appreciate it, mate, and back at you. I'm surrounded by two awesome guys that I really do think the world of, and I embrace our chats and our conversations and sharing our views and how we feel about things, and most importantly, what we stand for. But Hopper Motor Group have been amazing for transition sports. So look them up, check them out, get down there. We've sent people down there already, and we've had nothing but positive responses on how they've been treated by the team, the professionalism, the environment, the culture, which are all the standards we abide to and adhere to. So get down there. So Paul, what you got? You got Hyundai, you got Kia. What are the other ones you got that's under your banner, champion?
Yeah, just Isuzu Ute and Renault in Werribee, and then in City, we've got the Jeep dealership in the city there. So there's some brands there we've had for a long time and very passionate about. But at the end of the day, we're passionate about people, and the brands are what we represent. As well. Just before we go as well, again, I don't know whether this is the right forum. I'll probably take a risk in even saying this, Darren, but I'm not a counsellor. I'm not an expert. I'm just a person. But if there's people that you've got in your world that just need a chat, happy to have a chat too. By the way, so if there's people out there that don't know me but just wouldn't mind a chat with someone, a different voice, a different perspective, I'm up for it. Just you can pass them my phone number.
Appreciate it, mate. Excellent. So remember, Paul Hopper, Motor Group. We'll have to promote. We'll do a promo for it. So all that stuff will be on prior when we upload this. So viewers, once again, we have no idea what we're going to talk about, and it just comes out, and I enjoy it. I think the message was great. And yes, are you okay? So a few important messages. We need you to stay strong, hang in there, stay well, stay safe. Remember, you're not a burden. I think that's the biggest problem, because we're all in the same storm. We think that we're all carrying the same weight and issues and things. Some people are doing it better. Some people aren't. That's okay. But some people who are struggling also like to help others. Like Paul said, we like to give back because it helps us. Helping you helps us, vice versa. So one in, all in. Let's do it together. Stand strong together. Unite together, and let's not divide this community. So reach out, guys. Paul's offered. As is always there, I'm there. Reach out, and we have no qualms to take that call. We'd rather that than worry about what could be. So thanks, guys. You guys are amazing. Appreciate your time. And episode 8 is done and dusted. Another week's gone. So, guys, Paul, appreciate you, mate. As always, love you. Love your guts.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
We'll stay in touch and keep things moving forward. And we've got some exciting things happening with us, the Hopper Motor Group, and Aaron. Exciting times ahead, guys. See you soon.
See you guys.
Family out. See you guys.
Look after each other.
See ya.